Stand to reasons Alan Shlemon wants to tell us why the Bible is so great and the Qur'an is so terrible. But he does so by ignoring all of the facts about the Bible. What else is new, right? This shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, but Alan Shlemon's religious position is convenient at best and wholly dishonest at worst. He tries to tell believers that the Bible is much more trustworthy than the Qur'an, but he can only do so by entirely ignoring where the Bible does all of the things he accuses the Qur'an of doing, because who cares about the facts anyhow? I guess we'll have to step in and correct his misconceptions. Not that he'll ever know, because, closed comments and all. It isn't just the Qur'an that's untrustworthy, it's both. So let's get to work.
Is the Qur'an as trustworthy as the Bible?
Yes and no, because neither of them are worth the cheap toilet paper they're printed on.
I'll give you one reason why it's not.
I'll give you lots of reasons why neither of them are worth a thing if you're interested in objective history. As an interesting case study in ancient mythology, sure. But if you're interested in determining the verifiable religious facts, you're not going to get anything useful out of either the Bible or the Qur'an.
Well, one of the main reasons I find the Qur'an untrustworthy has to do with the source criticism, which entails studying the sources upon which a text relies. For example, the Qur'an claims to tell stories about Jesus that are from sources known to be fraudulent.
And the Bible tells stories about Jesus from sources that are known not to be eyewitness testimony. Of course, Alan isn't going to bring that up, is he?
For example, in Surah 19, you can read the story of Jesus' birth. And we're told that the pains of childbirth drove Mary under a palm tree. And she hears this voice that tells her that God will provide for her. At which point the tree provides her with some dates and a stream that appears below it. So she can of course now eat and drink and be comforted. Now, we don't see that story in the Gospels, which of course were eyewitnesses or written by eyewitnesses of Jesus' life.
Yeah, no they weren't. And we see the absurd bias that Alan has toward the Bible, where he assumes that the Bible is correct and any other source that disagrees has to be wrong. The mere possibility that the Bible is wrong doesn't even enter his mind. It isn't something he can even consider. And while most scholars conclude that none of the Gospels were written by the people whose names appear on them, and certainly not by eyewitnesses to any actual Jesus. But again, this is faith over facts, and Alan couldn't care less about the truth.
But we do see this story in almost exact same detail in the lost books of the Bible, which are 2nd century apocryphal fables, written over 100 years after Jesus was born.
Which doesn't prove that they're false, or true for that matter, only that they were written down later on. Now, I'll be honest, the Qur'an is nonsense for the same reasons the Bible is. Beyond having no independent evidence for most of its myths, the authors of these books stole from other pre-existing mythology because that's what was done back then. Stories were told, certain elements became accepted in various traditions, and stories told in those traditions, quote-unquote, borrowed, to use Joseph Campbell's kind description, from other religions to make their own sound more acceptable to the people they were trying to convert. Myth makers weren't trying to record history. They were trying to tell convincing and comforting stories that might appeal to the larger population. Christianity is no different than any other religion that did it, no matter what people like Alan want to think.
In fact, there are other stories about Jesus where he speaks in full sentences while still a baby and makes birds come alive after shaping them out of clay.
And if you read any of the infancy Gospels, the same thing is true. In fact, all of those tales in the Qur'an came from the infancy Gospel of Thomas. The writers of the Qur'an are just doing what Christianity did, grabbing stories from pre-existing myths and incorporating them into their own religious folktales. But Alan assumes, for no good reason, that the Bible is true, and therefore ignores all of the places where the anonymous Bible writers did exactly what he accuses the writers of the Qur'an, quite correctly, of doing. It's all, "I see," said the blind man, nonsense.
Now, although these stories are not found in the Gospel accounts, they are found in the first Gospel of the infancy of Jesus Christ and the infancy Gospel of Thomas, which again are apocryphal Gospels written in some cases hundreds of years after Jesus' life and are known to be fakes.
Known to be fakes? How? Now, I'm not suggesting that any of them are true, just like I'm not suggesting that the Gospels in the Bible are true, but he's making a statement and he's not backing it up. Now, let's be honest, the only reason he's saying they're not true is because they don't agree with what Alan already believes. Not because he has any independent evidence, but because it doesn't make him happy to think that any of it is real. Happiness doesn't matter when it comes to factual reality.
Now, one of the most dramatic examples of the Quran borrowing from other sources is in Surah 532, where the context is about Cain killing Abel. Now, this verse contains a warning that if you kill one innocent person, like Cain did with Abel, it's as bad as killing all of humanity. But if you save one life, it's as good as saving all of humanity. Now, it turns out those words are almost identical to a Jewish rabbi's commentary on Genesis 4:10, found in the Jewish literature of the Talmud, written about 400 years before the Quran.
Okay. And when you look at the story of Noah's son finding him naked and then cursing Ham, this comes straight from the Hindu Puranas, where the Hindu version of Noah, Manu, had 3 sons, Charma, Sharma, and Yapeti, very similar to Noah's sons Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Because Charma, also known as Sham, laughed at his father's nakedness, he and his descendants became slaves to the slaves of his brothers. The Purana story existed long before the biblical one. But don't expect Alan to tell you about that.
Now, the rabbi argues that the Hebrew word for blood is written in plural form. And because of that grammatical point, he reasons that even though Abel was a single person, killing him is as bad as killing all of humanity. Now, to me, this is incorrect commentary, right? But the Quran inadvertently quotes that mistaken commentary written by a Jewish rabbi and then passes it off as divine writ.
Just like you do when your own holy book copy stories, like the creation myth and the flood myth and even many stories ripped off in the Jesus myth. But because you have blind faith, you refuse to acknowledge that your own religious traditions are every bit as guilty as any other in stealing wholesale from other religious and mythical traditions, because that would make you feel bad. This is yet another case where faith gets in the way of critical thinking and logical evaluation.
Now remember, Muslims claim the Quran is a book that was written exclusively by Allah and has eternally existed in heaven.
Which is every bit as stupid as the idea that all of the Bible is God-breathed, as stated in 2 Timothy 3:16-17. Both books are stupid. Not just theirs, yours too.
So they don't believe in the doctrine of inspiration. They don't claim Allah inspired human authors to write down the words of the Quran. Every word is supposed to be from the mouth of Allah.
Just like every word in the Bible is supposed to be from the mouth of God. And then you run around moving the goalposts when it's revealed that your own silly book makes no sense at all, and God would have to be a complete imbecile to have come up with any of it. The only credit I can give here is that Christians are a lot less likely, at least today, to run around murdering people who don't accept their religious creed as perfect than a lot of Muslims are. But that doesn't stop both books from being complete bullshit.
And that's why it's significant that the Quran copies words from a Jewish rabbi who wrote down mistaken commentary about Genesis 4.
And why all of the stealing that the Bible authors did? Well, none of that matters. In fact, they want to pretend that none of it happened at all. But that's really all they can do. Pretend, because it did. The book of the Christians and the book of the Muslims are both total garbage. And since Alan here is talking to a bunch of ignorant Christians who don't know that his side did every single thing that he's pointing at the Quran over, they can't complain that he's being absurdly biased. But he is. He always is. And it takes someone who knows more about both religions than he does to point it out.
And that's one of the reasons I don't think the Qur'an is trustworthy.
But by that same logic, you shouldn't think the Bible is trustworthy either, because it does exactly the same thing. But logic is overrated, isn't it? And it isn't difficult to find any of this information, if you care to look. But people like Alan don't. Probably on purpose, because he doesn't want to know that what he believes is different from what is defensible in reality. Again, feels over reals. But this is stuff that's been known for many, many years. And all the religious can do is stick their fingers in their ears and say, "Nuh-uh!" And that's really sad because it doesn't get you anywhere useful. Touting your own book of absurd mythology over other books of absurd mythology doesn't stop them both from being absurd. But because Alan is preaching to the choir, the already fanatically convinced, irrational, ignorant choir, he can say just about anything he wants, factual or not, and no one will know the difference because they're all a bunch of uneducated lunatics who wouldn't know reality when it comes to their religion if it bit them in the ass. This is more ego-stroking from the fine folks at Stands Against Reason, as if that's any surprise. But when it comes to the facts, ego shouldn't enter into it at all. Ego should be the furthest thing from the mind of the true seeker. But this is religion we're talking about here, isn't it? And the only thing the religious seek is comfort. And that's sad.